I love maps. And I particularly love Google Maps. And I love Google Maps. Google Maps is not sponsoring this conference, by the way, but Google Maps are simple and they're easy and they're intuitive and they give us a clear picture of where we are. So here is a map of where we are right now. This is Mishkanot She'ananim. And my favorite feature of Google Maps is the little yellow man in the corner. The little yellow man in the corner is called Street View. And when you click on Street View, you get what I think is so brilliant about Google Maps. And this is where we are right now. It's not a bunch of lines on a screen, it's a place. And this place happens to be a very beautiful place, and if you haven't been upstairs to the windmill, I highly recommend you do so before you head back at the end of the day. But my favorite part of Street View and why I like to go in there when I'm having a bad day and just click on random places and see what's there is for this reason. On October 2011, when the guy from Google came and snapped a photo of Mishkanot She'ananim, he caught a snapshot of two people sitting on a bench having a conversation. And those two people sitting on that bench having a conversation, we don't know anything about them, but they allow us to use our imaginations and to think. They might be friends, they might be siblings, they might be a couple, they might be having a fight, they might be deciding that they're going to get married, we don't know. But it's a reminder to us that the maps are actually about people, and that reminds me of my favorite quote from Muriel Reskaya, who's a poet, who says, "The world is not made up of atoms, it's made up of stories." So the Taub Center is like Google Maps. And my name is Maya Dolgin, and I'm the host of the Taub Center's new podcast, DataPoint, which is what happens when you take the Taub Center and you switch it into Street View. And we remember that with all of the long-term trends and the macro picture that we've been talking about all day, and all of the beautiful graphs that we see of the Taub Center, if you zoom in on any one of those points, it is an entire universe unto itself. And it represents people with stories and families and hopes and dreams and fears and concerns. And that's what we're doing with DataPoint. It's a podcast that is about zooming in and letting one data point teach us something about the bigger picture. So the first episode of DataPoint is now live. It's available. You guys can download it on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and our website and wherever it is that you get your podcast. We're going to play a clip for you in just 1 second so you guys can hear a little bit and get a taste. The people you see here on the screen are the subjects of our first podcast. The guy in the middle, that's Aziz Kadan. He is a CEO and co-founder of a startup in Tel Aviv called MindLift. MindLift is a digital health solution for ADHD without medication. And he's from Baka El-Gharbia. And what's interesting about MindLift is that they're the only startup in Tel Aviv that was founded exclusively by Arab Israelis. And the guy over there that I'm talking to is Amer Khaleli. He's another one of the members of the founding team. He's in charge of all the graphics. And we hear over the course of the episode Aziz's story, his own personal journey, how he got to where he is, how they decided to start MindLift. And we also hear from Amer and we hear from Naomi, who was the first hire of the company. These 4 childhood friends hired a Jewish Ola who didn't speak a word of Arabic. And now the company has 9 employees, but she was the 5th person on the team. And we hear what her experience was like as well. And really, it ties into everything we've heard so far and will hear in the final panel of the day. They talk about why they decided to have the office in Tel Aviv instead of in Haifa, and that their dream is to open an office in Baka. We hear about Naomi's experience being the only parent in the company and what that's like with her hours and her communication with her coworkers. We hear about their dreams and their struggles and where they think the company's going. So I'm going to play a little clip for you guys, and the only thing that I'll mention, just as some context for the clip, is that it is, I had just asked him what it's like when he's meeting new investors and how quickly it comes up in conversation that he's Arab.
If it's an Israeli investor, It's in the introduction email. They see my name, Aziz. You can't be wrong. If it looks like an Aziz, if it talks like an Aziz, it's definitely an Aziz.
With Israeli investors, Aziz says that his experience has changed over time.
In the beginning, it played against me, basically, because in the beginning, I have nothing to show. Trying to convince people that I'm the right guy to do it. Not a lot of, not a huge track record. There was 21 back in the day. Obviously, no elite intelligence unit. Nothing like that. Nothing of that sort. So, and hardly anything in common with that investor. They would look at it as if I'm a guy with a broken leg trying to run a marathon. Okay, which is never a good thing. Up until I get that first investor, who was also, by the way, Israeli, and afterwards you get more investors and so on. But then once you pass that milestone of showing that your product is making money, and then you go sit down with investors that then they see that you're an Arab, they know that you had to pass so many hurdles to get there. And definitely it's the more difficult path for you as an Arab than for other people who don't have this broad block, let's put it that way. And so they appreciate it more, and they jump even more in the opportunity because they know that you've had to pass a higher barrier.
That's just a little clip from the episode. Raise your hand if you expect it's going to take you at least 38 minutes to get home today. Okay, great. I have a present for all of you. Ed, you're going to have something good to listen to on your flight. You can all download it for free. Please go ahead and subscribe if you like it, or if you don't like it, give us your feedback, and share it with your friends. Tell them about it. And I'd like to thank, of course, the Singer Foundation, Jay and Tom, for being with us here today and for encouraging us to dream big and think about how we can take the magic that happens here in the room and bring it out and amplify it onto the international stage. And this is one way that we're doing it over the course of today. And so we're really appreciative to you for that. And I want to thank Ido, one of our producers is here in the back of the room as well. Did a wonderful job. If you're thinking of making a podcast, we've loved working with Podcastico. So, and that's it. Thank you very much.